welcome back. And this is part 5 of our Canadian Quickbooks Online guide. We are now really getting into the main nitty gritty heart of accounting. So, chart of accounts is basically your core setup that you need to do properly to maintain a good set of books, right? So, how do we come to the chart of accounts? From the dashboard, go to the left navigation, accounting and chart of accounts. If you do not have accounting background, you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't do this part. Even if you don't want to hire an accounting firm or a staff full time, just get someone to set it up for you. That is the best solution. And once it is set up properly, you can just follow the instructions and do it on your own if you want to, right? That would be my suggestion to you. All right, so this is basically the heart of your books. So we have a sample here because this is a sample company, but if you start a very new company, there will be only the QBO default ones, right? So some default ones are like inventory, uncategorized assets, undeposited funds. Some of these are like the basic default stuff that they set it up for you, but it will be mostly empty. So there are a few types. If you are not familiar with the accounting basics, you can go and check out my other videos. But basically, there are a few different types. Let me show you. So it's listed like this: assets. Okay, so everything here is assets, right? Bank, receivables, current assets, PPE, right? And then we have liabilities: payable, credit card, other liabilities, long-term liabilities. Then we have the equity. Up to this is balance sheet, and then we have the income statement: income, cost of goods sold, expenses, other expenses. All right, so this is how it is set up. So how to set it up properly? So the one of the good ways to do it is to just start entering transactions, and as you enter transactions, you have to set up new accounts. For example, say this is a very fresh account, there is nothing in there, and you have the first transaction is from your bank, money coming in from a supplier, right? So what do? You have to create a bank account. So you create the bank, and then what do? You create a sales account, right? So where is the sales? Sales is in the income area. So let's say this was regular sales. So you create the sales account, income, and then you put the sales in, and you put the banking in, right? So that's how you do it. If it's a new account, or if you have a set of like template, you can upload that. What I do with my clients is I will have a set template for different industries. I'm just going to upload that and then customize that template based on the client's particular needs. How to create a new account? You click here, right? And you choose the different types. You have receivables, assets, bank, PPE, long-term assets, AP, credit cards, equity, income, other expenses, right? So for example, let's say we're setting up a credit card. We'll put it credit card here, detail is credit card, and the name is obviously not just credit card. If you have more than one card, it's gonna be confusing. So what you do is add the last 4 digits of the card. You can say, for example, CIBC Visa 1234, right? If it's a fresh account, don't do anything on there. The reason being, if you create a balance, it would be hard for you to balance the balance, if you know what I mean. Because this creates, unless you properly balance it, this will create a opening balance equity, and you don't want to deal with that. So what do? So if you're starting fresh, then you don't put anything in there in the balance figure, and you put the date in at the starting date. So say for example this is May, right? This is actually May, but your books start from January, right? So you can just put in January. And if you're pulling data from last year, say you had an active business, you had did something, you filed your taxes, you have the balance sheet for December 31st, you would put the balance in there. But if not, you'd keep it blank, right? The other way to do it is to keep it blank either way, and that's it. That's how I prefer to do it. I don't put anything in here. Sometimes it messes up how things are done. It is easier to do it in another way. I'm gonna show it in a later video, but basically we create one journal that covers everything. So that will be posted on January 31st. We'll create a journal, and that will post all the entries of the carrying over balance, right? So this, you don't need to put anything in there. Okay, cool. So what about the other stuff? Okay, so let's say here, okay. Income. Let's say you want to track your income by all these different types, right? Commission income, discounts given, fees billed, markup, refunds, blah blah blah, all that, right? So what do you do here? So say for example, put in an income, right? Okay, sale of let's say we want to track our bookkeeping clients bookkeeping income, right? Separately. Okay, so we created a bookkeeping income for our bookkeeping clients. We give a number, a description if we want to, and I would personally create a sub account to keep track of it. And what I would do is just put the main account as the sales. So the sales is the main account. You never put anything under sales. And if you want to track it that way, if you want to just have one account and put all the sales under sales, then you put everything under sales. If not, what you do is have a sales or income account that is the main heading, and in the primary account you don't put any transactions in there. What you do is you have all these sub accounts under that: sales, bookkeeping income, service income, others, tax, client income, whatever. For me, other consulting income. If I'm selling some physical product, then product income. If I have 10 different stores, so income from store 1, store 2, things like that, right? So that would all go as a sub account, and I would just post the incomes in the sub account, or like in the bookkeeping income account, not in the main sales account, right? The default tax code is usually for Ontario at least 13%. So you would put 13% in there because you don't want to like, this saves time in the long run. When you're posting sales transactions, this will automatically be there, so you don't need to manually select it for every transaction, so that saves time. That is basically it. One other thing you should do to clean up your chart of accounts is, if you don't need something, you can just make it inactive or delete it. For example, say we do not deal with exchange gain or loss. We might, because it's a multi-currency, right? So let's select other example. Let's say okay, all right, let's say we do not have any janitorial expenses. So what do? You click here and make inactive, right? So this doesn't show up anymore. And the same way, if you want to make it active again, right, you click settings, you click include inactive, and you make them active again. Where is the janitorial? Let's search for it. All right, and let's see here. You can also do this, like if you have, say, multiple, you can just create batch action and make them inactive if you want to. This won't work because we have inventory selected, but that's another way to do it if you want to do it in a batch, if you have more than one. And we want to, like, say, where is the janitorial? You see it has says deleted, right? So we can click make active again to make this active again. Other thing to note, that if you're deleting something, make sure it has zero balance. The janitorial had zero balance, so it's not an issue. But if you don't have zero balance, it will again give rise to like weird accounts, like adjusting balance or something like that. So that's a pain to deal with again. So make sure there's zero balance before you delete something. All right, so that is basically the basics of chart of accounts. Again, I would strongly recommend that you do not set it up yourself if you do not know what you're doing. Once everything is set up, you want to create a new account, that's fine. But as a new company, if you want to do it properly, it is best to let a professional at least set it up for you. All right, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like. If you have any comments, let me know in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.